Now, the road to electoral victory is a ridiculously hard one in Nigeria, especially for those whose pockets aren't so deep and who believe that truth, justice and a focus on the issues is the way to win at the ballot box. That's the remarkable story of Ikenga Ugochinyere, who has faced incredible odds, including threats to his life and attacks on his person, his home, his relatives, his aides and his supporters, with several losing their lives or ending up in hospital. But through it all, he persisted. And today, many see him as a beacon of hope for his community and for ordinary Nigerians, from repeatedly raising the alarm over what he and the group he speaks for, the Coalition of United Political Parties, or CUPP, said was a plot to rig the 2023 general elections, to fighting against his political opponents using just his voice against their bullets and bombs. It's been, to say the least, a hellish journey. But just a few days ago, after an impossibly challenging campaign, he was announced as the winner for the Ideato federal seat in the House of Representatives.
Day one, we're going to hit the ground running, and this ground starts with restructuring, solving these problems that we have across all parts of the country. We also have to work on the electoral act to deepen it further. You have seen the challenges we have witnessed, you have seen the progress we have made with the electronic reforms and so on and so forth, but we need to do more work, and that is going to be part of the agenda of the 10th National Assembly.
Remarkable is the word. And Ikenga Ugochinyere, spokesperson for the Coalition of United Political Parties, or CUPP, and now member-elect of the House of Representatives, joins me now in the studio. Thank you so much for coming in, and congratulations.
Thank you so much for having me. And also I want to thank Arise for being there with us, even up to Akokwa, my village, throughout the battle.
And what a battle and an awesome journey it's been for you. Tell us how you feel in light of your victory at the polls and what it took to get there.
Well, I come to realize that nothing good comes so easy, and fighting against people who have strong phobia for credible election and a free and fair contest is so worrisome. The only thing about this journey is the lives that was lost. That is the one that pains me. But I had expected that those who doesn't like change will come surging at us with the little experience I've had in the last 2 decades in this struggle. But just the destruction and the loss of lives, and also the destruction of institutions of government that is supposed to provide an enabling environment for all of us. Because if the police has done what they're supposed to do from the first time that we were attacked, I don't think we are gotten to the point of people being killed and properties being destroyed. But I feel happy that one that is always on the side of the law and on the side of his people would definitely at the end of the day have victory. So I'm grateful to God, and I'm grateful to the people of Ideato that in the face of this threat still came out, voted and stayed with us all through the night to ensure that the result was announced.
So has it all been worth it? I mean, you lost your uncle, some of your aides, your house was burned down, all for this.
Well, I think that if each time I try to console myself with the fact that if our forefathers didn't stand up to the colonial masters, if people didn't stand up to some tradition that was inhuman, possibly we will not be here. So I feel that each move to make change comes most times with consequences, especially in an environment that is backward like us, where people don't want anything that will make an enabling environment to work. So looking at the inspiration I've given to young people of my generation and to other people who are facing similar challenges, I think it was it because it's an opportunity for people to start speaking and knowing that once they're on the side of the law and on the side of their people and God is with them, that definitely society will change.
And were you always confident that this day would come, or were there sort of dark days of despair when you felt you just couldn't go on?
Yes, we had those moments, especially after the bombing and the death of our loved ones. We felt, like you asked me, does it worth it? But then I asked myself, if I give up, then enemies of justice, equity, and fairness have won, and then it's going to discourage other people. They will say, oh, look at Ikenga, what happened to him? At the end of the day, he chickened out. Even though we needed to remain alive, I had my concerns about my safety, even up till now. But I felt that we must continue the struggle so that we'll see until the last ballot is counted.
Because I remember talking to you on the phone after, I mean, I was horrified when I read in the papers and saw on Arise News, I mean, flames leaping out of your house, and I mean, cars burnt, you know, officers, I mean, all kinds of police milling around, I mean, people in uniform literally going to your house and besieging the house. I mean, and I remember talking to you, and I think what I took away from that conversation was not only the fact that clearly this was a real downer, but I also noticed this extraordinary tenacity in your voice, and you know that you were simply not going to give up.
Yeah, I think when I lost my mom because she was beheaded, killed by these same, you know, bad people, I felt there's need for people that have the courage to change the bad status quo to come into office. So I have seen bad moments before, and I nearly lost my life when I was involved in an election. Then I was in the university, so it was by God's intervention that I'm still alive. So I thought, all these things I've gone through, then let me get in and see how I can contribute my own quota towards ensuring that there's a decent society, if not for anything, for a level playing field, the process through which people get into office. Like Peter B once said, you cannot be called excellency if the process that is going to bring you to office is not excellent. So that let's have some level of excellency in the process that throws up our leaders. Maybe that will help in ensuring that we'll get good governance.
And you mentioned the time that you were at university. So clearly you've been an activist for a long time.
Very long time, yes. Very long time.
I mean,
this is my first
tell
time
us
of getting into elective position, yes.
Yeah, but you've been active. I mean, tell us a little bit about that background.
It has been from running for SCG president to running to become the Senate President of NANS, the National Association of Nigerian Students, then running to become the first woman to be the President of the National Youth Council of Nigeria. And then I had a little time with Hakim then as his youth mobilization officer.
That's Hakim, who was the former governor
of Imo State. And I also had a little time with Dr. Bukola Saraki, then as he's also assistant on youth mobilization and student matters as well. And I also had to form my own political party then, the APP, which is among the surviving 18 political parties, before returning back to PDP also to seek for my first elective position. And in all this, it has not been easy, from one detention to there are times we spend up to 6 months in detention, from police to DSS, but it doesn't stop that zeal that I feel society, especially our society here in Nigeria, is not doing well. We need to have some decency in governance, and leaders must be held accountable. That is the burning desire I have. I want to find out why, when they get there, they change. I just want to use myself as an example to find out how I'm going to forget those burning desires.
You want to find out if you're going to change.
I don't want to change. I want to remain Ikenga the way I am.
Right. But I mean, you mentioned that you were picked up a number of times by the Department of State Security and all the rest of it. What were the reasons? And
each time, you see bogus charges like treason, trying to overthrow the government, criminal defamations, incitement. These are regular charges, and most of them so painfully, which is still happening today. You see a situation whereby you say, I committed treason. Instead of taking me to a federal high court, you take me to a magistrate court that doesn't have jurisdiction, just for the purpose of keeping me in prison or in detention.
And you are a lawyer, of course, aren't you?
And it's so painful that police can always allow itself to, if you know that this charge is not for magistrate, why take it to a magistrate court? Just like the one that happened today, you saw in Imo State, the Deputy Governor Gerard Iruana, the police invaded his home, took him, and then only this afternoon they charged him for terrorism in a magistrate court. And the magistrate, you don't have jurisdiction, you grant him bail, but just to satisfy the desire of then you remind him in prison. I feel that our society should go past beyond this kind of festa kind of politics. we should pass beyond it. And again, that's why, if you permit me, I think the IG has also give standing instruction to the commissioners of police. Yes,
police,
right. Let the CP stop doing this. To me, I call it nonsense. Don't charge people before a magistrate court when you feel they have committed terrorism or murder charge. Charge them in the court that have the right jurisdiction, because this whole essence is about justice. It's not about persecution to keep somebody in detention. And the CP in Imo keeps on doing it. He did it like many times with me, trying to formulate the same, high charges in a magistrate court, even when we made revelation on Omuma Magic. So I think that the police must find a way of disciplining people who do that. And the magistrate court, if you know you don't have jurisdiction, stop debasing yourself in doing this. Just give the person bail. Let them take the person to the right court where the matter is supposed to be had. We can't see, each time election is approaching, police and governors will be hunting opposition people. Look at Ebony, a few days to voting, he said the man is involved in murder charge, just to put him in a magistrate court. You saw what happened in Kogi and all those other places. They should find a way to separate our police force from these petty things. It's so very shameful.
Well, that brings me to my next question, which is, now that you've got in, what are you going to do with it? What are your plans for the sort of thing you were talking about now, but also significantly for the people of Ideato that you now represent in the House of Representatives?
One of our biggest problems in Ideato today is erosion. We have this erosion problem because there was an old road that I think it was the military people, Equator or something, that goes from a place they call Banana Junction in Olo down to Anambra State, which was abandoned. It helped in messing up our environment. That is causing huge erosion problem from Umeshi in Amanato to Ruala to all different parts of Ideato. But so painfully, the development partners, World Bank, working with the government then, had a program that was aimed to solve that particular problem. But the successive government did not give them support and they put back. So finding a way through federal intervention and help of our development agency to solving those erosion problems. Then we have light problem, electricity. We don't even have electricity for like 12, 14 years now. How do we get the communities to have electricity is a huge priority that I'll be seeking federal intervention and support to get for our people. Then we have road problem. We don't have all our feeder roads and major roads from Molo down to that. We don't even have a bridge that connects, or that bridge has gone down. Then our communities don't have these roads. How do we get, with the help of the federal government and development partners, to solving this problem using the legislative advantage we have? We'll be taking part of our time. And also employment, which seems to be a general problem, but also we need our people to be gainfully employed, and those ones that doesn't have formal education to have skills that can help them. These are the things I'll be seeking the support of my colleague and the federal government and development partners to solving for our people, apart from fulfilling the responsibility of going to the parliament, which is also to make good laws for good governance and peace and order. Yeah.
Well, you're certainly across what needs to be done. We shall obviously see how you get on and sort of assess you as you go along. But given all the things that you've told us, what lessons have you learned about Nigerian politics and the way the game is played in this country?
I think that nothing has improved. I think we now have more number of people that used to do business in Festac. I don't want to ask people, that will tell you. People used to do 419 all over Lagos, invading our political spaces.
And Festac is a neighborhood.
Yes, all parts of Nigeria. Yeah, so you have people who don't have morality. You have people who don't know how to draw a line between human life and the quest for political office. You have people who want to destroy institutions. When I mean institutions, political institutions, economic institutions, religious institutions. They even have started getting, men of God into the nonsense they are doing. Nothing is any longer sacred in the quest for political power. People who are supposed to be in Kirikiri, normally in jail, running all over sacred institutions of government, whether in the parliament, in the executive, in the judiciary, debasing. I think I come to understand with my literacy that all institutions of decency is under attack, whether religious institution, whether political institution, economic institution. They just want to destroy it to be able to be in power. Then the question you ask, what is the ultimate goal? Why do you want to be in power? What do you want to do? And that is why you see lawmakers that will be in parliament, they seem to forget the separation of powers and they want to serve the executive instead of going into the executive. Then you see the executive, bending on institution, judiciary. You don't like a judge, you don't want him to be CJ, you can destroy anything, you can find a way to retire him. Then you have the State House of Assembly, they wash, the clothes for for the governor's wife. You know, a lot of institutions, everything is being destroyed. So there is no institution that is going to save the other. Even the institution of INEC, they go there, they want to recruit the wrong people, they want to put them under pressure, they want to put gun on their head to announce a result. As you can see in most of the areas, they are destroyed. Even the youth service young people that is coming, they want to also corrupt them into the system. So I think all institutions in Nigeria is under attack by men who are supposed to be in Kirikiri because they want power. And the question is, what do they need the power for? It's a kind of business for them to continue to live large on people's resources. I just hope that going forward, that the kind of lawmakers, or especially the new lawmakers, yesterday some of us met, will say there is need to do things differently, to have a new parliament that will focus on using the institution of the parliament in solving these challenging national problems.
Well, that's what you say is very inspiring and exceedingly hopeful. But given what you just talked about Nigerian politics, I mean, what is your assessment of how the presidential elections has gone? I mean, because you and the CUPP raised the alarm repeatedly of a plot to rig that election. Like I told you clearly, from day one, we started raising some of these concerns that there is plan to undermine this election, especially by the ruling party APC. I give it to President Muhammad Buhari that he was able to sign the electoral law, and also give it to him of the marching orders that he issued. Now, on all those levels, he did very well to find a way to provide a leveling environment. But the actors that were under him was not listening to him. They have a different agenda. That was when I raised the first alarm on the compromise of the voter register, the Omuma Magic. Now, nobody acted. I had expected more support, even from our opposition family, that if anybody can have access to be able to undermine a biometric registration, that person may have access to undermine other things that have to do with the election. The people that were behind the Omuma Magic are still parading all over, even boasting. The IG never prosecuted them. The CP Nimo never prosecuted. Rather, he even arrested innocent INEC staffs, trying to find out whether they were the one that leaked the information. I talked about the ad hoc recruitment process compromise, that they have people they want to use after training. And you saw that one of the things that caused the early problem in the morning of election was that some of the ad hoc staff that INEC suffered to train, some of these political actors working with some rank in some of the states were able to swap them with people who were party members who didn't even know how to operate the beavers machine. They started messing the process up as early as 8 a.m. in the morning. Some went to the polling unit without the result sheet. We had the same experience in some of our polling units. Some refused to upload. Some even refused to issue out the duplicate copies to the agents. So most of these things, we predicted that there would be this assault at that level. I talked about afternoon red, which was a shameful moment that we had in Ngokpala. Less than 48 hours, the president signed the new electoral act. There was an election in Ngokpala where police officers from this same Imo State Police Command, they run what we call afternoon red, whereby they waited for people to do accreditation and vote with their fingerprints going in, and then they take the beavers machine, extract the total number that is accredited, and use it to write a figure. This repeated itself in some parts of the country again. We talked about uploading fake results. If you go to the IRA portal today, you will still see strange results that were uploaded. And I want these people because for you to do the upload, it has a history. The person that signed into the device with the email. By now, I had expected that those people that are making this fake upload, is arrested, because under the new electoral act, is a criminal offense. You go to a place they call a civic center or something hall in Omumoru East, most of them must place. I always use that as an example because I keep saying that most of the things that affected Nigeria and that will keep affecting Nigeria is being cooked up from this area because of the character of the people there. Now, the most important I want to take, go to that civic center or whatever hall in Omuma. You had the accreditation that is 82 or 87. But the result that was posted and uploaded is 320 for presidential, 320 for House of Rep. So somebody deliberately, some of these things we are done even with result sheet that has Jigawa. Because when people try to blame the INEC chairman, I said, what destroyed our election didn't come from Abuja. It was some governors who feel they have had so much audacity to run against the institutions, get away with it, with a CP that is adding like an errand boy. They can undermine the whole electoral process. You saw Kogi, you saw Ebony, you saw Imo, you saw different parts of the country that came under, even if you saw Lagos. So, and that's why it pains me that, at this particular age, you will see police officers running to polling unit,
chasing people away just to allow some people go in. Look at Njaba. In Njaba, for instance, they have collected results from Wangeli, Isu, and Nkwere. Osbi, Kensil Ozribo was winning just to collect the one of Njaba, which he was also winning. They stormed the area, police officers with a bubag and armored personal carrier, and took away the result and electoral officers. That's why that place is inconclusive. And some of the results have already been uploaded on the IRF portal. So what is holding the INEC in collecting and announcing the man winner? So this, in different parts of the country, we had this assault on this electoral process. And that's why I said it's so painful that, all these years, Nigeria is still running around as if to say we come from Burundi or Congo kind of politics. It's so painful.
Well, it's very worrying. Very briefly, because we're out of time, it's been brilliant talking with you. Do you see yourself now as carrying the hopes of ordinary Nigerians, that all this is something like a roll of the dice, but one day the luck of these manipulators that you talk about will run out, and for you, that day has come, given your victory?
Yes. First of all, I'm carrying the burden of Ideato people, and that of also Nigerians that have so much hope in me. And I can tell that moment have come. And in the last 4 days, I've been speaking to our new colleagues that will have a moment. I remember watching the old clip of 12th January 1955, when the first House of Representatives was inaugurated by John Macpherson, the former colonial master, and we have Frederick McKay, for what they call him, as the first speaker, who later gave power to Jaja Wachuku and so on and so forth. I saw the glory of the Federal House of Representatives. Even after them, the people that came after them, that we must restore that glory and use the House of Representatives and the National Assembly as a foundation to solving these national problems of restructuring, of deepening electoral reform. Let's have electronic voting so that you can click and this thing goes once. To remove the activities of this talk, we must find a way to use the institution of the parliament to solve that problem. I have waited all my life, and I hope and I pray that my colleagues will understand the urgency of time, because we have lost the faith of Nigerians, and that's why you see war everywhere. That in solving that war and in averting the living danger, we must give Nigerians something to go home with. It's not painting a health center, it's not buying a motorcycle or keke napep. We must solve national problem using the institution of the parliament.
Well, I have to say, young man, you are an inspiration.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much indeed for coming in. And Ikenga Ugochinyere is a spokesperson for the Coalition of United Political Parties, or CUPP, and now a member-elect of the House of Representatives. Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you so much.